Okay, so we've hinted at data literacy, and that is what the Data Lodge is based on. We don't want to assume everybody knows exactly what we mean when we say that, but what is your definition of data literacy, and also, why are you so passionate about it?
Yeah, so if you didn't prompt a definition, I would have given you one anyway.
Good.
Because if you Google search data literacy, you will get 17,000 definitions, right?
Okay.
It is a hot term, it is a confusing term, and depending on the perspective that one takes, they have their own view of it. So I love starting with a definition.
Okay.
So first of all, the way I like to define data literacy at the Data Lodge with my clients is just like any literacy, it's the ability to read, write, and communicate. That part's pretty basic, but it's read, write, and communicate with data. That's the object. In context. In context is very key, because what Charlie does in mobility and what a store clerk at a big grocery chain versus a driver experience data in incredibly different ways. So read, write, and communicate with data in context in both work and life.
Okay.
So I do not believe that this is just a work thing.
Absolutely.
I know it's not just a work thing.
Yeah.
It is a life skill. If interpreting the Johns Hopkins dashboard during COVID and the misinterpretation of the Johns Hopkins dashboard and the lack of understanding of a 7-day moving average, if that did not convince people that data literacy is a thing, they might not have known what to call it, but it is a work and a life skill. So that's like the one-liner. And then I like to say, okay, well, what does that include? Like, how do you actually foster data literacy? I've boiled it down to 3 things. It's mindset, it's language, and it's skills.
Okay.
So mindset being attitudes and beliefs, language being, do you understand the terms? Think about data scientists and data engineers and business people hanging out in a room solving a problem. You do a word cloud over those people. There's 3 sets of terms. There's business acumen, there's data acumen, and there's analytical acumen. Any problem you're solving. So knowing the basic vocabulary. And then the third piece is the skills. Skills like, they're basically 3. Thinking, how do we think? So when someone puts on Facebook a chart that, gets your blood pressure going, are you a discerning consumer where you step back and you say, I wonder what the source of that is? Or do you immediately start texting back or messaging back and piling on? Right?
Yeah.
So being a critical thinker and a discerning consumer is thinking. Engaging is how do you interact with other people, like data storytelling. That's a great example of engaging. And then applying is, at the end of the day, what actions are you taking with that data to derive the value? So those actions have to weigh things like ethics, bias. How do you make a data-informed decision?
Yeah.
So mindset, language, skills. Let me stop. What do you think? Where do you want to dig in?
I want to go to the person first, and then we maybe go out from there, because if I hear that, that sounds that is what it is, and I love that you put it into context of data literacy doesn't stop at the the door when you leave work. Just like I think one of the things you probably liked about our Data in Nutrition podcast is we were literally talking about our data literacy in terms of our nutrition and how we use data to make better decisions. And it's hard. It's hard to even just do that. So let's bring it down to the person. So if you were to say you're data literate, what would that be?
So
or levels, or do you see it as levels, or do you see everybody has to get to a certain point? What does it look like? If I said I'm data literate, or I want to be data literate, what does it mean?
So I would basically say, first off, that you have an open and curious mindset about how data is in our worlds. You understand that there is a certain language and set of terms, and that basically there are terms related to problems, terms related to data, and terms related to this analysis math stuff. You need to just understand that basic frame for there's these kinds of terms, and I can have a mental model for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, the skills, you would be a discerning consumer of information, and you would engage with other people productively.